Andean wolf.
The Andes Mountains of Argentina are known for their breathtaking landscapes and unique wildlife, including one of the most mysterious creatures in the region, the Andean wolf. First sighted in 1927, the Andean wolf is a proposed and unrecognized canine species that roam the Andes Mountains of Argentina. Its sightings were extremely rare, and the creature was only seen a few times before its disappearance in 1935. Despite its brief appearances, the Andean wolf has captured the imaginations of people around the world. But what do we really know about this mysterious creature? In 2000, an attempt was made to analyze DNA samples from a pelt believed to be from an Andean wolf. Unfortunately, the results were inconclusive due to contamination with human, dog, wolf, and pig DNA. The pelt had also been chemically treated, making it difficult to extract any useful information. However, recent research suggests that the pelt is likely from a domestic dog, possibly even a crossbreed of some sort. This discovery raises questions about the true existence of the Andean wolf. Was it truly a separate species, or simply a domestic dog that was mistaken for something more exotic? Despite the mystery surrounding the Andean wolf, one thing is clear: the Andes Mountains remain a truly unique and remarkable place full of hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. The Ucumar or Ucumar zupai is a giant hominid reported from northern Argentina, described as a bear-like humanoid. The name Ucumar is said to be derived from the animal's ululating vocalizations, although in languages from further north the spectacled bear is given similar names such as Jucurumuri, Ucumuri, and Ukuku. Moving further down the iceberg, we come across reports of giant grasshoppers. Giant grasshoppers were popular subjects for tall tale hoax postcards, particularly in the Great Plains during the 1930s when grasshoppers were a common pest. The story goes that giant grasshoppers were created by taking two photos showing a wide shot and a close shot. The enlarged image from the close shot would be cut and glued over the wide shot to create the illusion. At the same time, when giant grasshopper exaggerations were popular, exaggerated large fruits and vegetables were as well. Frank D. Conrad of Garden City, Kansas, was considered to be the master of the giant grasshopper genre of postcards, referring to them as hooper whoppers. The idea, Conrad said, came to me after a flight of grasshoppers swarmed into Garden City attracted by the lights, and it was impossible to fill an automobile gasoline tank at filling stations that night. Snallygaster. The snallygaster is a mythical dragon-like beast said to inhabit the hills surrounding Washington and Frederick counties, Maryland.
Miami Beach scorpion. The Miami Beach scorpion is a large scorpion-like animal seen off of Miami Beach in Florida. It could well be a surviving Eurypterid, the gigantic sea scorpions which ruled the sea before the first jawed fish evolved. But a lobster-like animal seems much more likely, due to the long time that has passed since the age of the Eurypterid. While there is no source to back up this claim, it is stupid to think that such a creature would exist. Seeing an animal to go 400 million years without evolving is just, I can't put it any other way, that's stupid. It's a lobster. Cockatrice. A cockatrice is a legendary creature resembling a large rooster with a lizard-like tail, an ornament in the drama and poetry of the Elizabethans, as Lawrence Briner described it. The cockatrice, which on one ever saw, was born by accident at the end of the 12th century and died in the middle of the 17th, a victim of the new science. Direwolf. A large wolf that existed in the Pleistocene era, the direwolf stood about 3.5 tall and weighed 125 to 175 pounds. They had a smaller brain case than the average wolf and were bulkier and stronger, with jaws that could crush bone. Thousands of dire wolf skeletons have been found in the La Brea tar pits. Said to have lived alongside noteworthy animals such as Smilodon fatalis, this fierce hunter is a mystery to all as not much is known about it. It lived during the Pleistocene era and is the original wild dog. Not much is known about whether they lived in packs or were solitary creatures, as the only information we have about them is from their skeletons and their modern-day descendants. They could be found living in North and South America, with possible two variants for each continent. The dire wolf has not been proved to still exist, but various cryptids and myths around the world have descriptions that uncannily resemble that of a dire wolf. These include the Wahila, Shunkawarakin, Amarok, and Fenrir. They are possibly still alive and thriving in the icy Nahanni Valley, where the Wahila has been sighted. There have been few sightings, but one in the Nahanni Valley, a sighting of the Wahila, describes it as a wolf on steroids. In detail, it was described as a large wolf with bulky legs, a wider head, and shorter ears, which describes a dire wolf almost exactly. Moon-eyed people. The moon-eyed people of North Carolina are a Native American legend. The legend talks about them having big, round eyes, hence the name the moon-eyed people. They are also very short, so therefore it's possible that they could be related to their European counterparts, the dwarves. They lived in North Carolina. They are supposed to be a race of little people who lived underground. People claim to have found small houses like mounds with spoons and other utensils inside of them. The house-like mounds are supposed to belong to the moon-eyed people. Some eyewitnesses think that the house-like mounds are energy mounds or places of power. The moon-eyed people are purported to be nocturnal, which might explain their enormous eyes. The Hudson River Monster. The Hudson River Monster, or Kipsey, is the name given to a reputed river monster living in the Hudson River. There is currently no scientific evidence for the cryptid's existence, although an unusually large manatee was spotted in the river at various locations between Manhattan and Poughkeepsie in 2006. It is possible that the Hudson River Monster is a synonymous term for the Canadian and New York Lake monster champ, Hippogriff. The Hippogriff is a mythical griffin-like creature, but part horse instead of a lion. The Hippogriff has been a part of legends and myths since at least the 1600s. Within the poem, the Hippogriff is a steed born of a mare and a griffin. It is extremely fast, and is presented to be able to fly around the world and to the moon. This creature was supposed to live near Céret, in the county of Roussillon of modern-day France during the Middle Ages. Haimushi Haimushi is one of the 63 creepy germs written in Harikikigaki, a book of medical knowledge written in 1568 by an unknown resident of Osaka. This tiny malevolent creature is believed to have caused human illness during the 16th century in Japan. It is known for its appetite for rice and the problems it causes with the lungs. If the Haimushi exits the lungs and cannot find its way back, it turns into a fiery will-o-wisp hitodama, and the person dies. Sexu. Sexu is mythical giant bird from Kashmawa in South America. It resembles the thunderbird of North America. It is said to have the ability to gather storms and is responsible for weather control. Yuki-onna. Yuki-onna, literally snow woman, is a yokai or spirit of Japanese folklore. In legends from the Ojiya region of Niigata Prefecture, a beautiful woman came to visit a man and became his wife from the woman's own desire. This woman was reluctant to go into the bath, and when she was made to go in anyway, she disappeared, leaving only thin, fragmented, floating icicles. Blackbird of Chernobyl. The Blackbird of Chernobyl was a Mothman-like creature allegedly sighted before the Chernobyl meltdown and during the rescue of Chernobyl workers. There aren't many sightings of this monstrous avian, though the sightings before and after are similar. All the sightings before the disaster are practically the same. Workers seeing the huge creature in the area of the power plant. The workers say that they had dreams of a beast with a 20-foot wingspan and red glowing eyes. The sightings afterward are similar to each other. Rescuers in helicopters seeing a large bird-like creature fly by. Everyone who has seen the creature during that time has died. Cave children. Cave children are alleged creatures found in the Dulth Aral caves in Pohnpei. The cave children are described as creatures with translucent skin, arched backs, wings, a big red eye that is said to blink very fast. The cave children are said to be very dangerous, attacking anyone who enters their cave. The cave children also make a murmuring sound which makes people feel uneasy so much so even the locals don't go into the caves.
Old Ned, aka the Lake Utopia Monster.
The Lake Utopia monster, also known as Old Ned, is a lake monster that allegedly inhabits Lake Utopia in New Brunswick, Canada. The creature has been described as being over 20 feet in length, having a large head, being reddish-brown or dark red in color, and being bulky. Cryptozoologist Norma Stewart claims that the last sighting of the Lake Utopia monster reported to her was in 2000, and the last sighting of the creature reported to newspapers was in 1996. She believes that the creature travels back and forth between Lake Utopia and the Atlantic Ocean every 3 to 5 years, possibly for a breeding or feeding cycle. Stewart also notes that the creature loves to bask and is never vicious either. Big Muddy Monster. The Big Muddy Monster, otherwise known as the Murfreesboro Mud Monster, is a mysterious large beast sighted at midnight in 1973, when a young couple was parked by a desolate riverside for a romantic interlude, when they came face to face with a huge, wet, hairy, mud-slathered beast with a penchant for disturbing teenage lovers. During 2 harrowing weeks in the summer of 1973, the rural town of Murfreesboro, Illinois became the epicenter of a terrifying series of encounters with a huge albino beast, which would come to be known as the Murfreesboro Mud Monster, or the Big Muddy Monster, Bunny Man. The Bunny Man is an urban legend monster that was first seen in a 1900 newspaper article. It was a giant humanoid bunny or a man in a bunny costume holding a knife. It is mentioned in the cryptozoology book Monsters of Virginia, as well as Monsters of Maryland. Bunnyman is an insane murderer that has reports of killings or sightings only on Halloween 10 or 20 years at 12 o'clock under a bridge. It is said that if you stay there beside the bridge in the town of Virginia Colchester, you will see him. Rougarou. Rougarou or Loup-garou, Loup meaning wolf, and Garou meaning a man who turns into an animal, is a shape-shifting monster that lives in the swamps of Louisiana. Rougarou is actually the Michif word for werewolf. It is like a werewolf, but it can turn into wolf form any time. This is what makes the Rougarou much more dangerous. Cajun folklore says that it stalks the swamps of Acadiana and Greater New Orleans. It is often used by parents to get their children to behave. Lake Worth Monster. The Lake Worth Monster is a satyr-like creature that terrorized the people of the city of Lake Worth in Texas in July of 1969. A few couples that had seen the Lake Worth Monster were the first to do so, and soon on, it became a phenomenon. Reporter Jim Mars followed up on the story and wrote an article, which made front-page news. The headline was, "Fishy Man-Goat Terrifies Couples Parked at Lake Worth." The couples described it as goat and man-like, with fur and scales. John Reichardt's car was supposedly damaged by the Lake Worth Monster after it jumped out of a tree. As proof, he had a 1.5-foot long scar on it. The police finally decided to investigate, yet yielded no answers. Only one day after Reichardt's incident, reports came in of a creature hurling a tire from a bluff at bystanders. Hopkinsville Goblins. The Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter, also known as the Hopkinsville Goblins case, and to a lesser extent the Kelly Green Men case, is the name given to a series of connected incidents of alleged close encounters with presumably extraterrestrial beings. There were dozens of eyewitnesses to the incidents, which included 2 families present at the farmhouse and others in the area. Other civilians, some of whom had no connection to the families at the farmhouse, and even one in another state. Perhaps most significantly, the witnesses also included several local policemen and a state trooper who saw and heard strange phenomena such as unexplained lights in the night sky and noises the same night. The 7 people present in the farmhouse claimed that they were terrorized by an unknown number of creatures similar to gremlins, which have since often been referred to as the Hopkinsville Goblins in popular culture. The residents of the farmhouse described them as around 3 feet tall, with upright pointed ears, thin limbs. The being's legs were said to be almost non-functional or devolved, even in a state of atrophy, long arms and claw-like hands or talons. The creatures were either silvery in color or wearing something metallic. Their movements on occasion seemed to defy gravity, with them floating above the ground and appearing in high-up places, and they walked with a swaying motion as though wading through water. Although the creatures never entered the house, they would pop up at windows and at the doorway, waking up the children in the house to a hysterical frenzy. The families fled the farmhouse in the middle of the night to the local police station, and Sheriff Russell Greenwell noted they were visibly shaken. The families returned to the farmhouse with Sheriff Greenwell and 20 officers, yet the occurrences continued. Police saw evidence of the struggle and damage to the house, as well as seeing strange lights and hearing noises themselves. The witnesses additionally claimed to have used firearms to shoot at the creatures, with little or no effect, and the house and surrounding grounds were extensively damaged during the incident. There are no known photographs of a Hopkinsville goblin. Oklahoma Octopus. The Oklahoma octopus is a cryptid generally said to inhabit some freshwater man-made lakes of Oklahoma, including Lake Thunderbird, Uloga Lake, and Lake Tenkiller, where it attacks and kills unsuspecting swimmers. Although no physical evidence exists in the case of the Oklahoma octopus, many point to the high mortality rate and a large number of unexplained drownings in the Oklahoma lakes as a clear sign of its presence. Now, the cryptid that I am about to talk about, I have potential proof of its existence, whether it be the makings of homeless people living in the woods or campers, etc. The potential for it to be a true melonhead is definitely there, considering that I am local to the areas that they are most prevalent. Potentially, melonheads. Melonheads is the name given to the legendary beings that live in the forests of Michigan, Connecticut, and Ohio. Different variations of the legend attribute different origins. The creatures are said to appear remotely human with bulbous, melon-like heads. For each state there is a differing story, so I will cover each of them, starting with Ohio. The melonheads were originally abandoned children that a scientist by the name of Dr. Crow decided to take care of at his facility in Kirtland, Ohio. While the children stayed at the facility, Dr. Crow performed torturous experiments on them. What got them the name melonheads was when Dr. Crow injected chemicals into their brains, which caused their craniums to grotesquely grow. Because of the abnormal growth, they developed hydrocephalus, which caused them to become mentally ill. After years of abuse, the melonheads brutally killed Dr. Crow and burned down his facility. Next, we have the story of the melonheads of Michigan. The melonheads of Michigan are said to reside around Felt Mansion, although they have also been reportedly seen in southern forested areas of Ottawa County. According to one story, they were originally children with hydrocephalus, who lived at the Junction Insane Asylum near Felt Mansion. The story explains that after enduring physical and emotional abuse, they became feral mutants and were released into the forests surrounding the asylum. The Allegan County Historical Society asserts that the asylum never existed, although it was at one point a prison. And finally, the Connecticut story of the Melonheads. Several variations of the Melonhead myths can be found in Fairfield County, Connecticut. Most instances can be found in Trumbull, Shelton, Stratford, and Monroe, but other instances can be found in Seymour, Easton, Weston, Oxford, Milford, and Southbury. There are two primary Connecticut variations. According to the first variation of the myth, Fairfield County was the location of an asylum for the criminally insane that burned down in the fall of 1960, resulting in the death of all of the staff and most of the patients, with 20 inmates unaccounted for, supposedly having survived and escaped to the woods. The legend states that the Melonheads' appearance is the result of them having resorted to cannibalism in order to survive the harsh winters of the region, and due to inbreeding, which in turn caused them to develop hydrocephalus. According to the second variation, the Melonheads are descendants of a colonial-era family from Shelton, Trumbull, who were banished after accusations of witchcraft were made against them, causing them to retreat to the woods. As with the first legend, this variation attributes the appearance of the Melonheads to inbreeding. Bullabak. The Bullabak is a Dutch folktale with two differing versions. In Gelderland, it was believed the Bullabak was a creature that came out at night to scare people with its loud roaring noises. In Utrecht and a large portion of Holland, however, the Bullabak was known to be a child terror. The water demon came equipped with a big hook, which he used to grab children from the waterside in order to drown them. 3. It is said, though, that once children got into the water, they could see a palace and countless of beautiful lights and stars. The creature was also known in Drenthe and Overijssel. Mogollon Monster. Mogollon Monster, aka Arizona Bigfoot, is a type of Bigfoot originated from Mogollon Rim, Arizona. Reports of footprints, video, and hair samples have been documented, but no conclusive evidence has been found to date. The Mogollon Monster is reported to be a bipedal humanoid over 7 feet tall with inhuman strength and large eyes that some claim to be wild and red. Its body is said to be covered with long black or reddish-brown hair, with the exclusion of the chest, face, hands, and feet. Reports claim it has a strong and pungent odor described as that of dead fish, a skunk with bad body odor, decaying peat moss, and the musk of a snapping turtle. It's said that the creature is omnivorous, nocturnal, and very violent. It is generally reported to walk with wide, inhuman strides, leave behind footprints measuring 22 inches in length. It was said to produce whistle sound or scream and explore campsites during night. It is also believed to consume deer and other wildlife by decapitating them. The Giant of Kandahar. Stephen Quayle spoke of an occurrence which is still classified by the U.S. government in his popular radio show Coast to Coast. The events allegedly happened in 2002 in a desert part of Afghanistan when a U.S. Army squad went missing. A Special Ops Task Force, branch unknown, possibly Rangers considering that the missing squad was Army, was sent to find out what had happened, and the soldiers walked along a ragged, mountainous trail until arriving at the entrance of a large cave. Pieces of broken U.S. military equipment and gear were scattered all around the clearing. The task force was about to enter the cave to explore its recesses when a tilde 12-15 feet, red-headed, six-digit, double-toothed humanoid emerged and attacked the soldiers. The giant impaled Dan with giant spear and proceeded to attack the rest of the squad. The witness states that it took 30 seconds of continuous fire to down the giant. Between them, the squad was armed with full auto M4 carbines, recon carbines, semi-automatic, and M107 Barrett anti-material rifles firing .50 BMG. This much firepower concentrated on one target for 1 second, let alone 30, would be extremely destructive. According to the witness, the giant wore canvas or animal hide covers on to protect its feet like moccasins and smelt like dead bodies. The creature's body was airlifted back to the squad's base by a helicopter and net. From there it was loaded into an aircraft and taken away, never to be seen again. Upon their return, the soldiers were made to sign non-disclosure paperwork to stop the word spreading of their encounter. The witness states that he broke his silence because people have the right to know what's happening on our planet. Deerman. Deerman is a cryptid whose legend originates in the folklore of North America. A hybrid animal, Deerman has the antlered head of a great stag, a human's torso, and legs described as similar to either those of a man or deer. In addition, it is usually said to be well-muscled and surprisingly fast for its size. Other accounts gift the beast with the power to transform itself from a regular deer into the form described above. Catalonia Fallen Angel. The Catalonia Fallen Angel was a strange humanoid cryptid that was on film in a forest near Catalonia, Spain. The sighting, judging by the camera timer, took place at 1:13 a.m. on June 11, 2006. The creature is evidently humanoid. The creature is nearly skeletal, as if suffering from anorexia. While the body is almost exactly identical to a human, it appears to possess glowing eyes. Its most defining features, however, are the growths emerging from its back that resemble featherless wings, like those of a molting bird. And unlike most of the cryptids mentioned in this list, we have a video that goes along with this entry. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Door dogs. Door dogs are small canines which appear as premonitory omens of death in folklore collected from Tangiers, Morocco. They are described as small, silent dogs with pointed noses like a chaperque, which are seen following individuals in the weeks before their death. They are seen specifically when the doomed person is passing a threshold, such as a doorway, and can only be seen by others. No one can see their own door dog before they die. Dingonek. The dingonek was an ultra-mysterious cryptid reported from the rivers of southern Kenya, known to the Okiek people, and made famous by an alleged sighting made by the English adventurer John Alfred Jordan. Jordan described it as a long-fanged aquatic animal covered in plate-like scales. The dingonek has been called one of the hardest cryptids to classify. It was originally regarded as a neo-dinosaur, and was connected with Lake Victoria's Luke Wada, but Bernard Heuvelmans, arguing that the armor was an optical illusion, classified it as a water lion. However, Carl Schucker notes that Jordan was insistent regarding the presence of scales, and a similar armor-plated mammal, the Cumway, is reported from the swamps of Liberia. Contemporaries who made inquiries among local people found that similar animals were known under various names, such as Olmaima, Maasai cripple, and Damathia. The former name is now applied to monitor lizards and pangolins, and the dingonek itself has not been reported since the original sightings in 1907 by big game hunter John Alfred Jordan, and members of his hunting party, as recounted by fellow big game hunter Edgar Beecher Bronson in his 1910 memoir Enclosed Territory, The Sandown Clown. The Sandown Clown was a strange being encountered by two young children vacationing at Lake Common, Sandown, Isle of Wight, United Kingdom, in May of 1973. Following a sound like an ambulance siren, the children wandered across a footbridge over a stream and met a curious, unidentifiable being that has been described as a cross between a clown, a robot, and an alien. It was a shy but friendly being, and spoke kindly to the children for almost half an hour before they returned to their parents. It seemingly vanished after the encounter and has never been seen again. 4chan Gray Alien. On November 21st, 2018, an anonymous user on 4chan had posted an image to the paranormal board /x/ of what was claimed to be an alien. The image was accompanied with the following text. This was a picture that was taken from inside a car that I was working on. Full story was that I was working on it about at 11 p.m. and I heard a bang on the front of the car. I thought it was a raccoon, so I took a picture with flash to scare it off, but when I took a picture I got this. Seeing this, I turned on my flashlight only to see that it had disappeared. I had matched up the picture next to the car and the wall behind it and measured how tall it would be, and it was about 8 feet. Can anybody tell me if this was a prank on me or if this was real? Honestly, I think it's real. After extensive digging by fellow users of the board, it was determined to be a hoax. Crazy Critter of Bald Mountain. Crazy Critter of Bald Mountain is an alleged insect-like creature confronted by several shocked motorists during the evening of the 17th of November 1974 on Bald Mountain. Bat Beast of Kent. On November 16, 1963, 4 British teens witnessed a glowing ovoid object descend from the sky and settle in the woods at Sandling Park, Kent. After the object apparently landed, the teens saw a bat-like creature emerge from the woods, waddling toward them with large webbed feet and wings protruding from its back. The headless 5-foot-tall creature terrified the eyewitnesses, who fled to the police station to report their encounter. Several days later, a man claimed to have seen a strange object hovering over a nearby soccer field, and later investigators discovered flattened foliage and 24-inch-long footprints in the woods. The incident, known as the Saltwood Mystery, has been linked to other similar cryptid sightings, such as the Owlman and Mothman, and marked the first reported association between these creatures and the UFO phenomenon. What the fuck? Oh. The California fetus was a strange carcass that was discovered by a woman named Gianna Paponis in November of 2015 in Los Angeles, California. Moore's Beach Monster. The Moore's Beach Monster was a cryptid carcass discovered in 1925 on Moore's Beach in California. It was described by witnesses as having a large head with a beak-like mouth and tiny eyes. Some witnesses even described the creature as having feathers, fur, elephantine skin, legs, and even toenails. However, the identity of this creature was quickly found to be a Baird's-beaked whale, a creature known for being the identity of many globsters, as the creature's skull was collected and determined to belong to said species. Solway, Firth, Spaceman. In May 23, 1964, Jim Templeton took a photograph of his daughter on Berg Marsh in Carlisle. When he got the images developed, he noticed what appeared to be a tall humanoid figure clad in a spacesuit jutting out at an odd angle from behind his daughter's head. Templeton reported the case to the police and Kodak, who confirmed that the photo was genuine, but could not explain the figure in the image. The region where the photo was taken was a breeding ground of UFO activity, leading some to believe that there might be a connection. Templeton was later visited by Men in Black, who tried to force him to confess that he had photographed nothing more than an ordinary man. Additionally, a rocket launch countdown was aborted in Australia when 2 automatic survey cameras caught a pair of large, unidentified humanoid figures, clad in what appeared to be white spacesuits, walking around the launch pad on the same day that Templeton took his picture. The Woomera facility has been the site of numerous UFO sightings, and at least one more aborted launch due to what was described as a white being that was spotted on the security cameras. Parque Forestal Alien. The Parque Forestal alien sighting is an extraterrestrial sighting that took place in 2004. The witness was a civil engineer by the name of German Pereira, who was taking a few snapshots of the state police on horseback in Chile. After downloading the photos and examining one of them, he noticed a small figure that was making a quick dash between the 2 officers. This photo is the only known photograph. Geff the Talking Mongoose. Geff the talking mongoose is an alleged talking animal that perplexed a family on the Isle of Man in the early 20th century. According to the Irving family, Geff was a mongoose-like creature, with the ability to speak in a high-pitched voice and perform various feats of telekinesis. Although some dismissed the claims as a hoax, others believed that Geff was a genuine entity, either a cryptid or a supernatural being. Large Antarctic sea mammal. The large Antarctic sea mammal is a cryptid reported by a Japanese research ship in 1958 in Antarctica. The captain of the Soya nicknamed this creature Antarctic Godzilla, as he likened its appearance to Godzilla. Some indicate that the creature is of the same species as the cabogon, black demon. The black demon shark is an enormous black shark whose territory is said to be just off the coast of Mexico's Baja California Peninsula. In recent years, numerous sightings have been reported, primarily from local fishermen. The black demon is said to be between 20, 60 feet long and weighing anywhere between 50, 100,000 pounds. It is said to resemble a great white shark, but with very dark coloration and a large tail. The mysterious shark was supposedly first spotted in 2008. Ahuitzotl. The Ahuitzotl is from Aztec and Mayan mythology, though similar creatures are known to the Hopi and Shasta tribes of North America. Said to look like a small dog, the Ahuitzotl had streaks on its head, small ears, and a hand at the tip of its tail. Scientists believe that the Ahuitzotl may have actually existed and was a type of otter. Ishi-Issy is a legendary Japanese lake monster, said to lurk in Lake Ikeda on Kyushu Island. It is described as being saurian in appearance. The name is formed in analogy with Nessie, the Loch Ness monster. The creature was reportedly photographed in 1978 by a man who went by the name Mr. Matsubara. 20 other people reportedly also saw the creature in 1978, which they described as black and about 5 meters long. Kushi-Kushi or Kusi is a cryptid believed to live in Lake Kusharo, northern island of Hokkaido, Japan. Lake Kusharo is located within Akan National Park in eastern Hokkaido and derives its name from the Ainu word Kucharo, which means the place where a lake becomes a river and the river flows out. It is a caldera lake, formed in the crater of a volcano long ago, and is notable for being the largest lake of this kind in Japan, as well as the 6th largest lake in the country overall. It also boasts the largest island in a freshwater lake in Japan, the islet Nakanoshima, which is in fact a composite volcano. Lake Kusharo is massive for a caldera lake, being approximately 57 kilometers in circumference and reaching depths of 117.5 meters. Selma Seljordsormen, or Selma, is a lake monster situated near Telemark, Norway, in Lake Seljordsvatnet, a 12-mile long and 1.5-mile wide body of icy cold water formed by glaciers during the last ice age. As far back as the late 1750s, reports of a large reptilian creature living in the lake have circulated around the region. Eyewitness reports, which today number over 500, generally describe the creature, dubbed Selma by the locals, as a 30 to 45-foot serpent-like creature, resembling a large anaconda. Some reports even include several humps on its back. Almas. The almas is an ape-like cryptid reported from Central Asia. They are said to inhabit the Asian mountain regions of the Pamir and the Caucasus, as well as the Mongolian mountain range of the Altai. Sightings of the almasti date back as early as the 15th century. This creature has been sighted walking upright just like a human. In fact, it looks more human than a Bigfoot-type creature. It is even said to craft clothes and tools. It is said to resemble a living caveman. Their bodies are covered entirely with thick brown to reddish-brown hair. The facial region remains uncovered, but patches of skin are dark. The skull structure of the almasti possesses a protruding brow ridge, slanting forehead, flat nose, and large protruding jaw. Their feet are large and their fingers are long. Their appendages are completely covered with hair, except for their hands. Mapinguari. The Mapinguari or Mapinguari is a cryptid reported from the Brazilian and Venezuelan Amazon and possibly Paraguay, described most simply as a bulletproof, extremely foul-smelling animal with long hair, robust claws, and both quadrupedal and bipedal locomotion. Popular folklore also gives it a number of characteristics typical of mythical South American monsters, such as a mouth in its abdomen, and the European cyclopean characteristic of a single eye, features rarely appearing in sightings. As of 2001, David Oren had collected more than 80 Mapinguari sightings and 7 accounts of Mapinguaris being killed, and more sightings have been reported since then. Grecian Dolphin. The Greek dolphin was a cryptid cetacean reported from the Mediterranean Sea, known from several sightings reported by W.F.J. Mortzer Bruins, who also reported the Alula whale, Iligan dolphin, and Senegal dolphin. It resembled both the striped dolphin and the cryptic Senegal dolphin. Sakhalin Island sea wolf. The Sakhalin Island sea wolf was a mutilated cetacean corpse that was found by Russian soldiers on the Sakhalin shoreline. Sakhalin area is situated near to Japan. It's the most eastern part of Russia, almost 5,000 miles to east from Moscow. The creature has been identified as a beluga carcass, Thames River monster. The Thames River monster is a giant serpent-like creature sighted in Greenwich near the O2 Arena. It has been speculated to be at lengths of 30 to 170 feet. Many of the local people have compared this creature to the Loch Ness monster, while experts theorize it could be a species of Atlantic whale, known to travel up the Thames for feeding in the spring or early summer. The man from Torrid. This cryptid could be a video in itself, so I will give the shortened version of events. Officials told him that Torrid didn't exist, but he presented them with his passport, issued by the non-existent country of Torrid, which also showed visa stamps corroborating his previous business travels to Japan and other countries. Yet when they called the company he said he was having a meeting with, they had never heard of him or his company ever before that moment. The hotel he had reserved a room at had no reservation for such a person, and the bank listed on his checkbook appeared not to exist. Customs officials showed him a world map and pointed to the tiny country of Andorra. The man became irate, saying that Andorra didn't exist, but it was right where Torrid should be. His country had existed for 1,000 years. The man was detained by customs and given a room at a nearby hotel for the night while officials tried to figure out what was going on. The following morning, the man from Torrid completely vanished from his hotel room, which had been guarded by immigration officials all night long. And to make matters worse, all of his personal documents, including his passport and driver's license issued by the mystery country, vanished from the airport's secure room with no indication of how he achieved this strange escape. He had seemingly vanished into thin air.
Kushtaka.
Kushtaka or Kushtaka are mythical, shape-shifting creatures found in the legends of the Tlingit peoples of the Pacific Northwest coast of North America. They are similar to the Watsa of the Tsimshian people, Natina of the Dena'ina Native Americans of South Central Alaska, and the Urayuli of the Yupik in Western Alaska. In some accounts, a Kushtaka is able to assume the form of any species of otter, in others only one. In some stories, Kushtaka are cruel creatures who take delight in tricking Tlingit sailors to their deaths. In others, they are friendly and helpful, frequently saving the lost from death by freezing. Kushtaka can be warded off with copper, urine, dogs, and fire. It is said they emit a high-pitched three-part whistle in the pattern of low-high-low.
Dog boy.
Arkansas is one of those areas that is filled with ghost stories. Most of the older houses seem to have a spirit attached, so it would take a lot for a legend stand out from the crowd. But the tale that has managed to claw its way to the top is the legend of Dog Boy. In 1954, Gerald Floyd Bettis was born to Floyd and Aline Bettis in what has since been named the Bettis House. Those who knew him claimed he used to catch dogs and cats and keep them in his home as a young boy. But he wasn't playing veterinarian. Instead, he would horribly torture and kill the creatures. But what he is really known for is his treatment of his parents. The story goes that he imprisoned them in the attic, keeping them there for years. According to police reports, he did abuse his parents quite badly, but wasn't arrested for it until after the death of his father and the continued abuse of his mother. He died in prison of a drug overdose. Since then, people have claimed that paranormal activity is common in the house. Flickering lights, strange noises, and moving objects have all been reported. Considering Bettis once threw his father out of a window, that seems to be getting off relatively light in the haunting department. Damn, that is pretty crazy, I'm not gonna lie. The Dark Watchers. The Dark Watchers are a group of mysterious, dark, human-like creatures who stand on the hills, ridges, and peaks of the Santa Lucia Mountains of California and Mount Mingus and Mount Graham of Arizona. They supposedly watch those who wander into the mountains and are not aggressive. They are most often spotted around twilight and are usually seen staring upwards toward the sky while standing atop the mountains. They seem to be some sort of spirits, however their origins are currently unknown. They've been seen many times over the years, with stories about them dating back to Chumash Indian legends. They are mentioned in the short story Flight by John Steinbeck, and the iconoclastic poet Robinson Jeffers wrote about forms that look human, but certainly are not human, in his poem such counsels you gave to me. Sometime in the mid-60s, a Monterey Peninsula local and former high school principal went on a hiking trip in the Santa Lucias when he suddenly spotted a dark figure in a hat and a cape standing on a rock and surveying the area. When the principal called out to the other hikers, the creature vanished. More sightings continue to be made to this day. Night Marchers. In Hawaiian mythology, night marchers are the deadly ghosts of ancient Hawaiian warriors. The night marchers are the vanguard for a sacred king, chief, or chiefess. On the nights honoring the Hawaiian gods Kane, Ku, Lono, or on the nights of Kanaloa, they are said to come forth from their burial sites, or to rise up from the ocean and to march in a large group to ancient Hawaiian battle sites or other sacred places. The legend says the night marchers are normal-sized warriors, dressed for battle, carrying spears, clubs, and some are beating war drums and blowing tones from conch shells to announce the advancing of their march. According to the myth, they are suspended in air, their feet do not touch water or ground as they traverse through the night, and they leave no evidence of their visitations. Water babies of Massacre Rocks. Massacre Rock is a historical landmark located in southern Idaho near the Snake River. The area was known for its treacherous rapids, and it was a site where Native American tribes clashed with settlers. In one particular incident in 1863, a wagon train carrying a group of settlers attempted to cross the Snake River at Massacre Rock. The river was high and dangerous at the time, and the wagon train was ill-equipped to make the crossing. As a result, several wagons overturned in the rapids, and many of the settlers were swept away by the strong current. The legend of the water babies of Massacre Rock emerged in the aftermath of this tragedy. According to the legend, the spirits of the children who drowned in the river would sometimes be heard crying and wailing at night. Some people claim to have seen the apparitions of these children, who were said to be covered in water and moss. Water elephant. The water elephant was a freshwater cryptid proboscidean, reported from lakes and swamps in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It has frequently been conflated with pygmy elephants, which are reported from some of the same regions. The water elephant, however, is distinguished by its tapir-like appearance and semi-aquatic lifestyle. Green-clawed beast. The green-clawed beast was an unseen cryptid that is rumored to live in the Ohio River near Evansville, Indiana, on August 14, 1955. Unseen claw-like hand. Her friend Louise was waiting in an inner tube nearby when she heard her friend yelp and turned to see her pulled under. The hand released Johnson, who swam to the surface only to be grabbed and pulled under again and again. The attack only ended when Louise moved her inner tube directly over the monster. A short time later, a man claiming to be an Air Force colonel came to the Johnsons' house and instructed Naomi to never speak of the incident. There have been no reported sightings since.
Mutated Fukushima giant hornet.
An urban legend created by exposure to radiation from the Fukushima nuclear plant have killed several people in Nebraska. The Asian giant hornet, Vespa mandarina, is indeed a real species of hornet, the largest of its kind in the world. And its venomous sting is particularly effective in dispatching victims. It is also true that news accounts have recently reported incidents of people in Asian countries such as China, South Korea, and Japan having died after being stung by these giant killer hornets, such as the following October 2013 account from CNN. However, such killer hornets were not mutants created by exposure to radiation from the damaged Fukushima nuclear power plant, which caused them to quadruple in size, nor have they killed several people in Nebraska. Okay, guys, that is going to do it for the 5th part of the Cryptid Iceberg. I really like this AI voice stuff. It has helped me out a ton with getting this video produced, so I think I am going to take advantage of this in the future. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the subscribe button for more. Have a nice day.